Hey, welcome back here with Wrenching Mafia. As you guys can see, we do have a start-stop support battery service required message on the vehicle. This is a 2017 Volvo XC60. So this will cover 2017 all the way to 2022. If your vehicle does have a support battery, 9 out of 10 times the repair we're going to do will fix this concern. So we'll basically be showing you guys how to replace the support battery and how to reset the system the proper way, and what tools we'll be using to basically do this repair. So before we get started, I want to give a special thanks to CRAFTSMAN for sponsoring this video. This is their new overdrive 121P set, which is SAE and metric, that will be, of course, taking a look and see what's new. We're going to do a quick breakdown and see what's in it. So as we open up the toolbox, I am very impressed. We got metric and SAE. We got quarter-inch sockets, some spark plug sockets, some 3/8 and also half-inch sockets in this set. We got some ratchets, quarter-inch, 3/8 and half-inch. And then over here on this side, we got some extensions, some dry bits, your 3/8 wobbly, some wrenches, SAE and metric, and some Allen keys. As we take a look at the new ratchets, as you guys can see right here, these are the CRAFTSMAN highest tooth count on the market with 180 tooth gear in there, as you guys can see. So if you're in a tight spot with minimal leverage, you'll be able to break that fastener loose in that tight spot. So that's what I like about these. And as we move forward to take a look at the sockets and wrenches, one key technology with these, as you guys can see the teeth and grooves in between the socket points, that's going to help you remove fasteners that are rounded up to 70%. So if you have something that's kind of rounded off strip, you'll be able to remove it with easy effort. And of course, we got your SAE and metric wrenches. As we get the 14mm wrench and we take a look at the open end, as you guys can see the little teeth and grooves right there, that's basically going to help remove fasteners that are rounded up to 50%. Same technology with the close end. This is a 6-point close end. As you guys can see right there, you got some teeth and grooves between the points. That's going to help remove fasteners that are rounded up to 70%, just like the sockets. From there, you do have your spark plug sockets. And of course, very nice clean look. Like I told you guys, has a nice gunmetal chrome finish to it, which gives it that nice professional look to it. So I'm very satisfied and happy with the new set. So let's get started with the repair. So the first thing we need to do to perform the repair is open up the hood. So on the driver's front left kick panel, you do have the hood release there that you just pull, and the hood should open. From there, you just push on the yellow tab and it should open up the hood. As you guys can see right here, we have the support battery compartment. This is where the support battery is stored. So one thing we want to do before we get started with the repair is disconnect these connectors. What we want to do is basically disconnect these connectors to reset the system. You got to allow it 10 to 15 minutes disconnecting and doing this procedure in order for it to reset. If you do not perform this, most likely by just replacing the support battery, when you start the vehicle, you will still get that start-stop service required message on your vehicle. Pretty straightforward. You just push in the tabs and you release the connector. From there, we'll be using our CRAFTSMAN quarter-inch ratchet with their extension and an 8mm socket to remove those two 8mm bolts. So they're basically just remove them. They're not very tight, so you should be able to remove them with easy effort. And if you follow all these steps, you'll properly be able to reset the system without any issues. And of course, like I mentioned to you guys, you got to disconnect all these for 10 to 15 minutes in order for it to reset. So we're going to remove these 2 8mm from here and get access to the support battery by removing this cover. So once we remove the cover, we'll have access to the support battery. Another key factor with these, sometimes you do get corrosion. So like this one has minor, so one thing you want to do is get like a wire brush and basically clean that off. Any corrosion will create a parasitic drain, which and then will drain the battery and will cause the start-stop support malfunction light as well. So of course, you can get this battery tested at your nearest auto parts store, or if you have a DMM, you could test it. If anything that's below 12 volts, most likely it's a faulty battery. So this battery is about 3 years old. These typically last between 3 to 5 years, but depending on the climate and where you live, it'll be a big factor on how long the life of the battery will be. So after we're all done and we remove the battery, one thing that we want to do to basically reset the system, once we have those two connectors disconnected and the support battery removed, we want to get to the main battery and disconnect the negative terminal. So we get to the trunk, we are going to remove this cover, or I'm just going to basically resecure it up here so I have access to the spare tire. So the main battery is going to be below the spare tire, as you guys can see right here. I'm just going to loosen up the straps and have access to that main battery. So once I loosen up the straps, I will be setting the tires to the side. This is the spare tire. So in most cases, you could kind of typically move it, but I am going to remove it. That way you guys could see what I'm looking for, and when it comes to basically removing the negative terminal on the main battery. As we have access to the main battery, of course, as you guys can see right here, red would be positive, negative would be black, which is this cover right here. You want to remove it. And then from there, you see the minus sign, which shows you that it is negative as well. We're going to use our 10mm socket to remove or loosen up that cable, the negative cable. Once you loosen it up, one thing I am going to do is just kind of set it to the side. You don't have to remove the positive, just the negative side. And one thing I'm going to do is just kind of set the cover on top of it, just so those two terminals don't touch, or basically close the circuit, because if it closes the circuit, most likely it will not reset the system, because you want to make sure that the computer's reset. And as we remove the support battery, I'd also remove the cable just so I could clean it. The old one did have a lot of corrosion. The new one's right here, nice and clean. So now that we put it back together, we'll have a nice clean contact and corrosion free. Like I said, corrosion does create parasitic drains, and it would also drain your battery over a period of time. So we're going to put the new support battery back in. Of course, everything's nice and clean. As you guys can see right here, we got the new one, and we are going to throw it back in there. And the system has been sitting disconnected for 10 to 15 minutes. The closer to 15 minutes, the better. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to install my positive cable terminal, which is the 10mm nut. And I am going to use my 10mm socket and 1/4" ratchet to basically install this. So it's nice and tight. You don't have to go too tight with these. So once you get to where it's nice and snug, you should be good to go. Next thing you want to do is basically install the 8mm on the support battery. And then of course, I always put the negative last. So I just start them by hand. So you want to make sure that you're going in there straight, and you of course you do not want to strip it or cross thread it as you're going in. So it's pretty straightforward. And then from there, we are going to go to our negative side. Like I said, one key thing about these, you want to make sure that you do remove any corrosion if there is corrosion on those terminals. I have seen these come back when those terminals did not get clean. So once we have our negative side back on, we are going to make sure they're nice and tight. And then from there, we do want to connect these. You do not want to forget to connect these, because the vehicle will not start. I've seen that where you're kind of rushing through the job and you're trying to start the vehicle, and next thing you know, I realize, hey, those two connectors are not connected. And for some reason that happens to you, most likely you got to check those connectors. It just shows you that with the simple tools in hand, like the one CRAFTSMAN sent us over, that any project's yours. This is the perfect set to have in your vehicle, in your RV, in your garage, just as you're working on this projects. So like I said, I really like the tool set. So as we finish up the installation of the support battery cover, you want to make sure those are nice and tight. Like I mentioned to you guys, this covers 2017 to 2022 Volvo XC60s. So if you follow these steps, you'll be on the right path to performing that repair. Key thing is to basically have everything disconnected for about 15 minutes. That way the whole system will reset. From there, we are going to go back to the main battery, and we are going to reconnect the negative terminal on the main battery. So that way we'll be able to start the vehicle and test drive it. So as you guys can see right here, we do have the negative terminal. I did have a rag on there just so it won't make contact and not be able to reset the system. Once we reconnect it, I am going to tighten it up with my 10mm socket. These, of course, you don't want to go too tight, just enough to where they're not loose anymore and you're nice and snug. From there, you want to make sure you do not forget to put your cover back on. It just prevents it for anything else touching the negative terminal. So you just kind of want to put it back there for safety purposes. Once that's done, you want to put back your spare tire And make sure you tighten up the straps, or else your tire will be bouncing back there making some noise, and you'll be having a whole different concern. So the last and final step is to basically start the vehicle. So once you start the vehicle, you wait 15 to 20 seconds and that message should be gone. If the message comes back on, basically the system did not reset, or the battery is basically not the correct one. I want to say thanks to CRAFTSMAN for sponsoring this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.